I might need our next guest to represent me because we don't have a delay unit here. I'm very sorry about that. He is attorney. He's cracking up too. He is attorney Eric Glick of the Glick Law Firm in Bingham Farms. And I'll tell you what. Other than that little slip up, it's been a really. It's not been the most exciting hour, but massively informative. I got a money guy and I got a lawyer on radio. I don't know that this is good for big ratings, but we really appreciate Eric you being with us today, and thank you for joining us on the MegaCast.
Yes, it's my pleasure. It's some good information. I was listening in, and that information about loans and grants, it's really critical right now. There's a lot of businesses that are struggling and hurting, obviously.
Well, no question about it. You specialize in you specialize in estate planning. I got to hit a couple of buttons here while I try to read at the same time. You specialize in estate planning. You specialize in asset protection, probate court representation. So when people pass away, of course, that's a big issue there. Civil and commercial litigation and a whole lot more. You work from your office in Bingham Farms from the Glick Law Firm.
Ordinarily, I do.
Yeah, normally. Where are you today, Eric?
I am in my dining room, and this is somewhere in the house has been where I've been operating for a few weeks now. And I got to tell you, it's this COVID has been hitting me from several angles. I mean, number one, I do a lot of litigation work and estate planning work, and as you probably are aware, except for emergencies, the courts are closed. Some courts are actually processing paperwork. They've got staff, but they're not allowing people in unless there's emergencies. Some courts are closed down altogether, so that's affecting business. And then, on the estate planning side, as you can imagine, trying to get to the point where you're signing documents and having meetings with clients, it's not possible anymore.
So what do you do? Well, I mean, how do you manage these times? I mean, we're using in our municipal meetings. We are using tools like Zoom, and we've had to change the laws a little bit to make that happen to comply with the Open Meetings Act. Is there legislation needed to allow us to operate digitally in the legal space?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like many of your viewers, like myself, you sign contracts all the time with the auto repair shop, with your painter, with your contractor, with DocuSign and things like that. And even with refinancing of a home, there's virtual closings where you can do it online. But unfortunately, even though that technology exists, the law in Michigan governing some estate plan documents require that documents not only be witnessed, but witnessed in the presence of a notary or in the presence of witnesses. And so, right now, the state bar, the estate and protected, the estate and probate section of the State Bar of Michigan is trying to get legislation passed or a new order changing the rules to allow remote signings. But right now, a lot of people are just being put on hold, and we're pushing things back to May. Hopefully things can happen then. Maybe it'll have to be pushed back later. Some things don't require witnesses. We don't need witnesses for wills. We can even have holographic wills, meaning wills that are handwritten. So wills can be executed now. Trusts don't need to be witnessed technically, but it's a good idea to have them witnessed and notarized, but they don't have to be. So we're still doing trust amendments, and we can mail out documents, and some people can get them witnessed on their own. Maybe some banks are still open by appointment, but powers of attorney and patient advocate designations, those are required to be witnessed in the presence of witnesses. So that's a big problem.
Well, and especially right now, I mean, with people having health issues and so many people going into the hospital with life-threatening disease right now, being able to create a power of attorney so you can make decisions on behalf of your loved ones, it couldn't be more critical right now. And so what do you advise people to do? Is it just full steam ahead and hopefully we're going to clean it up later? Is it wait? Do we just got to knock down the governor's door in our legislature to do something about this right away? What's the plan?
We are knocking on the door. The more people that are knocking, the better that's going to be. In terms of the documents, if you don't have them already, it's going to be difficult to sign them if you're already in an institution, in a hospital. Sometimes we're sending along documents as estate planning attorneys to the client. We can't witness them remotely, but maybe they have witnesses. Maybe someone can witness for them, or maybe at least their intent will be honored if they're taken to a hospital. Another problem is the hospitals are letting in patients, but they're not letting in family members. I've had cases where someone was admitted, to a healthcare facility, and the family was of the opinion that this person could not make informed treatment decisions, just didn't have the mental capacity to do it, but they wouldn't let him in. They came down, they're showing papers, pushing him against the window, but they wouldn't let him in.
Well, and Eric Glick, attorney Eric Glick from the Glick Law Firm in Bingham Farms, you can understand, though. I mean, the doctors and nurses in hospitals, they, I wouldn't want to go into one right now if I didn't have to either.
No,
but they have to deal with what they have to deal with, just a complex situation. There's no easy answer.
Absolutely. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that's the situation that we're living in now. Is that it's difficult to have decisions made, and it's especially difficult if you haven't done a patient advocate designation or a HIPAA authorization allowing the hospital workers to communicate with the family members, because they're not being let into the building, and it makes it that much more difficult.
So let me ask you this one more time, and you probably answered it, but I don't know that I listened. So let me try. It's hard to listen to lawyers. It gets so complicated. Let me try this one more time. Can't you just do this stuff, do the best you can, maybe have a witness on a cell phone or something, proceed with what you need to take care of the people that we need to take care of and get the things done, and can't, I mean, aren't judges and others that are going to need to verify these documents down the road, can't there be some rational understanding that because of the coronavirus we couldn't execute these documents the way they should have been, but they should be at least to some level in standing, or is that just too informal?
Well, no, that's the expectation. I mean, for those people that can wait for the laws to change or for the stay home, stay safe order to be lifted, then they're going to wait. But for the people that can't wait, we're doing exactly what you're describing. Either we're providing documents that don't need to be witnessed or notarized, or we're giving instructions on how to do that. But for the documents that do, for powers of attorney, for patient advocate designations, if someone needs them, we're doing exactly what you're describing. We'll do the best we can under the circumstances. And if they're ever challenged, if anything happens, if we don't get around to signing them the proper way, hopefully the intent is going to be honored.
Well, we certainly would hope that. But, the whole legal world, that's another world. And, somebody gets the hair up in the back of their neck and they don't like some deal. And then, the first thing that's going to happen is, well, you didn't have the right paperwork and, this and that. But hopefully during this time of crisis, we are at war, after all. We can all come together and get through these things. Eric Glick Law Firm in Bingham Farms. What else? What other wisdom can you share with our people in West Bloomfield and Birmingham and Bloomfield Hills and Auburn Hills and Troy and all across Oakland County, with all the knowledge that you must have as a lawyer? What are the things that people have to be watching out for right now?
Well, people just need to be safe and not do things that are unnecessary. Again, if with estate planning, with these documents, if we can wait for things to be done on safely, that's the way to go, because a lot of times it's not only the clients that want to be safe, the attorneys want to be safe as well. Some attorneys I talk to are glad that legal services weren't included in what's an essential business, because they don't want to interact. They want to stay safe as well. So the thing is, it's like you've been saying, the theme for today is don't panic. We'll hopefully get through this, and we'll get the documents done on an emergency basis if we need to. If not, we'll get them done when things clear up. The other thing, though, that's a new development that I wanted to share with you is, there were some rules initially with the governor's orders, and that really prevented, or was interpreted to prevent, family members from coming into hospitals like we've been talking about. The order, I think it was 2020-37, now says that hospitals must prohibit certain people from going into the hospitals or facilities, assisted livings and things like that. But they don't have to exclude people if a family member is on hospice. Now, again, I'm not commenting on a certain facility's procedures. They might want to exclude people even though they don't have to. But now if you're a family member and you really need to come in and see someone who's not doing well, who's on hospice, who might be about to die, and you want to have some time with them, the law does allow you to talk with the hospital and point out to them that you're allowed to come in, and maybe you can work together to make that happen as safely as possible.
You better get one of those masks, and you better, go in and take care of yourself too, because, whether you can and whether you should might be a different story. But I empathize for families that want an opportunity to see their loved ones. I totally get it. So no value judgment here. If I was in that situation, I probably would be calling you up, Eric, and saying, hey, what can you do to clear the path so I can go in and see mom or dad? This might be the last opportunity. I get it. Tough. It's tough times. Tough decisions. If people do need help, if they're running into an obstacle and they do need help, can you and other lawyers help them get that access if they absolutely feel they need it and they're not getting it?
We can absolutely do our best, and we know the avenues to pursue, which is what lawyers do.
All right. Eric, thank you. It looks like you're healthy. I hope your 2 teenage children are helpful. And are they helping you work on your briefs right now and the other legal work you're doing? Or are they just enjoying their?
One of them is is in debate. I think he's practicing to be a lawyer.
Good.
His debate camp for this summer at Georgetown University was canceled. And you'd think he'd want to help with the legal work, but he just doesn't. He's on his video games.
All right. Well, I understand that. Thank you very much for being with us. We really appreciate it, and very helpful information. Good to have you here, and we will keep in touch. If you run into anything else that you think might be helpful to our listeners and viewers, please give us a call, and we'll get you right back. Okay?
I will. Thank you.
He is Eric Glick of the Glick Law Firm in Bingham Farms, right in our Oakland County service area. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back